Okay. So today our group, Assalamualaikum, a very good night to all of you. Salam Ramadan. Salam Ratu Kada. And today our group will be presented about the Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance 2021 and Corporate Governance Report. My group consists of Siti Syukra Zafira binti Muhammad Rapi and Hana Najia binti Hamran. So I'll pass to the next presenter.
Alright, so hi. So today I would like to present about the Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance 2021. Okay, next. Okay, so what is corporate governance? Okay, corporate governance defined as the process and the structure used to direct and manage the business and affairs of the company towards promoting business prosperity and corporate accountability with the ultimate objective of realizing long-term shareholder value while taking into account the interest of stakeholders. So, corporate governance provide a framework of control mechanism yang menyokong syarikat dalam mencapai matlamat dia lah, dan dia juga menghalang konflik daripada berlaku di dalam syarikat. And tunjang untuk corporate governance ni adalah seperti ethical behaviour, accountability, transparency and sustainability. Benda-benda ni semua adalah penting untuk governance company. So syarikat yang mengamalkan prinsip ni dia akan berkemungkinan menghasilkan nilai dalam jangka masa yang panjang. Alright, so next. Okay, so why CARE? Okay, so corporate governance yang akan menggunakan CARE, CARE. So CARE represent for comprehend, apply and report. So, okay, so CARE ni dia menggalakkan companies untuk identify the thought of processes yang terlibat dalam mengamalkan good corporate governance. So comprehend ni adalah understand and internalize the spirit and intention behind the principle and practices, including its intended outcomes. So for the apply, implement the practices in substance to achieve the intended outcomes of building and supporting a strong corporate governance culture throughout the company. And lastly, for the report, it is provide fair and meaningful disclosure and the company's corporate governance practices. So CARE ni adalah untuk kita mengukuhkan lagi kepercayaan antara syarikat dengan stakeholder by promoting fair and meaningful disclosure. So dengan mengikut cara ni, dia menggalakkan lagi culture of openness and respect. So besides kita menggalakkan culture of openness and respect, it will benefit the company and also the stakeholder. Okay, next. Okay, so this is the structure of the Malaysian Code Corporate Governance is as follows. First is principle, intended outcome, practices, and also the guidance. Okay, next. Okay, so first we will explain about principle A. Okay, principle A, board leadership and effectiveness. Okay, next. Okay, in the principle A, we have board responsibilities. Okay, board responsibilities is the board's responsibility is responsible for the long-term success of a company and the delivery of sustainable value to its stakeholder. So effective board leadership and oversight memerlukan integration of sustainability dalam corporate strategy dan juga takbir urus serta decision making. So for the practices, the board should set the company strategy aims, ensure that the necessary resources are in place for the company to meet its objective and review management performance. So maknanya the board ni merupakan mempunyai tanggungjawab yang penting lah dalam syarikat. Okay, next I will pass to Shakira for the guidance.
Tak dengar.
Ira, mute tu.
Dengar.
Dengar.
Okay. So, baik semula. So, untuk continue. So, bila Malaysia Code of Governance, Corporate Governance ni diorang dah buat code tu, diorang ada set the intended outcome untuk setiap code tu lah. So untuk the board responsibilities ni, diorang punya intended outcome is for every company is headed by a board, then responsibility for the company's leadership, and collectively responsible for meeting the objective and goals at the company. So maksudnya kat sini intended outcome diorang adalah supaya setiap company tu diorang ada board of director diorang, board of stakeholder diorang masing-masing, and responsibility for the company's leadership. Maksudnya setiap leader untuk company tu mempunyai tanggungjawab untuk memastikan yang board tu ada. Macam board of director tu memang kena ada according to the corporate governance lah, and collectively responsible for meeting the objective and goals of the company. So mereka adalah tanggungjawab bersama untuk semua leadership and the board sama-sama memastikan company tu boleh achieve goals yang diorang dah tetapkan. And then we have a guidance. Guidance ni adalah macam guidance ni adalah macam dia ditetapkan oleh Code of Corporate Governance tu. So antara guidance di mana company tu perlu review, challenge and decide on the management's proposals for the company, and then the company need to monitor its implementation by management and ensure there is a sound framework for internal controls and risk management. So okay.
Okay, so next is board composition. Okay, the definition of board composition is influence the ability of the board to fulfill its oversight responsibilities. An effective board should include the right group of people with an appropriate mix of skills, knowledge, experience, and independent elements that fit the company's objective and strategic goals. So, the right board composition akan memastikan sufficient diversity and independence. Ia juga membolehkan the board tu menjadi lebih lengkap to respond terhadap cabaran yang mungkin timbul di dalam syarikat. So the practices is the nomination committee should ensure that the composition of the board is refreshed periodically. Okay, next I will pass to Shakira for the intended outcomes and the guidance. Kira mute tu.
Okay. So board, okay. For the intended outcome is a board decisions are made objectively in the best interest of the company, taking into account diverse perspective and insights. So untuk intended outcome dia adalah setiap keputusan daripada board tersebut akan dibuat secara objektif dan akan menepati the best interest lah, maksudnya yang terbaik untuk company diorang dengan mengambil kira pelbagai aspek, pelbagai perspektif and also suggestion ke insight daripada forecast ke ataupun apa-apa performance daripada company diorang lah. And then we have the guidance. Guidance adalah for the company to support objective and independent deliberation, review and decision making, and also the board comprising a majority of independent directors allows for more effective oversight of management. So I pass the floor to the presenter.
Okay, next is remuneration. So remuneration is director's remuneration which is well structured, clearly linked to the strategic objective of a company, and which rewards contribution to the long-term success of the company is important in promoting business stability and growth. So however, pay policies yang tidak berkait dengan appropriate linked directors akan remuneration terhadap strategi syarikat dan prestasi boleh mengurangkan lagi pulangan terhadap stakeholder tersendiri. So for the practices, the board has remuneration policies and procedure to determine the remuneration of directors and senior management, which takes into account the demands, complexities and performance of the company as well as skills and experience required. Okay, next I will pass to Shakira.
Okay, so then for remuneration, for their intended outcome is the level and composition of remuneration of directors and senior management take into account the company's desire. And remuneration policies and decisions are made through a transparent independent process. So dekat sini remuneration ni akan ditentukan melalui level dan composition setiap director tersebut lah ataupun senior management daripada company tu. And then policy and polisi ataupun segala keputusan berkaitan dengan remuneration akan dibuat secara transparent, iaitu secara jelas, tak ada sorok-sorok, and independent process lah. Kiranya independent process tu macam diorang akan check satu-satu and dia takkan buat sambil lewa lah. Then for the guidance, for fair remuneration is critical to attract, retain and motivate directors and senior management, as a remuneration package should take into account the complexity of the company's business and the individual responsibilities. And remuneration should be aligned with the business strategy and long-term objectives of the company. So we go to the principle B, where it is about the effective audit and risk management.
Alright, for the principle B, first is audit committee. Audit committee plays a key role in a company governance structures. An independent audit committee is better positioned to rigorously challenge and ask probing question on the company. So company, on the company's financial reporting process, internal control, and risk management and governance. Okay, so for the practices. The audit committee has policies and procedures to assess the suitability, objectivity, and independence of the external auditor to safeguard the quality and reliability of audited financial statements. Okay, next I will pass to Shakira.
So untuk intended outcome for the audit committee is there is an effective and independent audit committee. Also, the board is able to objectively review the audit committee's finding and recommendations, and the company's financial statement is a reliable source of information. So maksudnya kat sini, untuk intended outcome yang dijana oleh kod tu adalah supaya audit committee adalah bertindak dengan efektif dan independen. Kemudian the board boleh review apa yang audit committee tu jumpa and ataupun boleh review balik segala keputusan berkaitan dengan audit committee, and also untuk financial statement for the company tu reliable source of information, maksudnya menjadi information yang boleh dipercayai oleh klien lah. So for the guidance is the audit committee is fully informed about significant matters related to the company's audit and its financial statements and addresses this matter. Maksudnya audit committee akan fully informed, akan mengetahui secara keseluruhan tentang kepentingannya setiap company audit tu dan macam mana financial statement tu merujuk kepada company diorang lah ataupun apa-apa status yang berkaitan dengan company diorang. So, and the audit committee appropriately communicates its insight, views and concerns about relevant transaction and events to internal external auditor. So, untuk audit committee ni sepatutnya diorang perlu communicate untuk diorang punya cadangan ataupun pandangan ataupun kebimbangan tentang concern macam isu-isu yang diorang macam ada isu dengan relevant transaction, ada isu berkaitan dengan relevant transaction ataupun apa-apa perkara yang terjadi dalam company diorang kepada internal dan external auditor. So, I'll pass the floor to the next presenter.
Alright, next for the principle B, risk management and internal control framework. So, it is a proper risk management and internal control are important aspect of a company's governance, management and operation. So, risk management focus on threats and peluang, manakala internal control ni dia lebih kepada helps to counter the threats and take advantage of the opportunities. Okay, so for the practices, the board should disclose the feature of its risk management and internal control framework and the adequacy and effectiveness of this framework. Alright, next I will pass to Shakira.
So untuk intended outcome dia adalah companies make informed decision about the level of risk they want to take and implement a necessary controls to pursue the objective. So outcome dia adalah bila kita dah tahu pasal internal control dan juga control framework ni, company akan buat keputusan yang sesuai dengan level risk yang ada dalam company diorang dan akan implement action-action tertentu untuk menyelesaikan masalah tersebut lah. So dia akan saling macam memerlukan. Then for the guidance is the company need to determine the board need to determine the company's level of risk tolerance and actively identify, also assess and monitor key business risks to safeguard shareholders, investment and the company's asset. So next we move to the principle C, integrity in corporate reporting and meaningful relationship with stakeholders.
Okay, first, engagement with stakeholders. So, is ongoing engagement and communication with stakeholders will build trust and understanding between the company and its stakeholder. So, it provides stakeholder a better appreciation of the company's objective dan kualiti pengurusan dia lah. So, dengan cara ini dapat juga membentuk stakeholder dalam menilai syarikat dan memudahkan lagi shareholder untuk tentukan how their vote should be exercised. Okay, so the practices, the board ensures that there is effective, transparent and regular communication with its stakeholder. Okay, so next.
So for the internal outcome is the board continuous, there is a continuous communication between the company and stakeholders. Stakeholders are able to make informed decisions with respect to the business of the company, its policy on governance, the environment and social responsibility. And for the guidance, the board should undertake active engagement with the relevant stakeholders, establish channels for stakeholders to provide their views and feedback, including complaints. So untuk internal outcome ni, company akan ada continuous communication, maksudnya komunikasi secara berterusan lah antara company dan juga stakeholders tu, contohnya macam employees, directors, customers and consumers. Then stakeholders akan sentiasa dimaklumkan dan juga boleh buat keputusan with respect berkaitan dengan company punya business, also berkaitan dengan polisi on governance dan juga environment, also their social responsibility lah. And for the guidance, the board should undertake active engagement. Maksudnya the board tu diorang sepatutnya aktif untuk melakukan engagement dengan relevant stakeholders lah, antaranya stakeholders, maybe dengan cara establish channels for stakeholders to provide their views. Maksudnya untuk stakeholders ni kan antaranya consumers and customers, also investor and so on. So diorang bila contoh the board tu akan bila the board establish channel, maksudnya satu platform untuk diorang bagi tahu diorang punya cadangan ataupun feedback selain komplain lah, cadangan ataupun feedback berkaitan goods or services daripada company untuk company diorang lah. Okay.
Alright, next is conduct of general meetings. So it was an important platform for directors and senior management to engage shareholder to facilitate greater understanding of the company's business, governance and performance. So mesyuarat agung ni dia membolehkan dan menyokong lagi shareholder dalam menggunakan dia ownership yang menyatakan pandangan mereka kepada the board and the senior management dalam mana-mana bidang yang boleh menjadi kebimbangan kepada mereka. So for the practices, the chairman of the board should ensure that general meetings support meaningful engagement between the board, senior management and shareholders. So chairman kena memastikanlah benda macam ni menyatakan pandangan semua ni kepada the board and senior ni adalah pentinglah dalam conduct of general meetings. So next I will pass to Shakira.
Okay, so for the intended outcome adalah shareholders are able to participate, engage the board and senior management effectively and make informed voting decision at general meeting. So bila ada general meeting ni, shareholders diorang akan participate tau. Diorang contoh macam general meeting ni akan diadakan atas beberapa sebab. So bila beberapa sebab tu dia akan affect the shareholders. So shareholders ni boleh participate and boleh bagi tahu dekat board and senior management secara efektif dan boleh buat decision secara voting. Voting ni mengundi lah. Kalau kita belajar dulu, kita kan ada mengundi contoh macam diorang akan stand to the majority. And also for the guidance, the company need to ensure that shareholders are given sufficient notice and time to consider the resolutions that will be discussed and decided at the general meeting. Yang ni adalah common untuk semua general meeting yang annual general meeting ke, all the shareholders perlu diberi notice ataupun masa untuk consider untuk hadir ke tak hadir untuk general meeting tu. Dan notice tu tak silap dia ada tempoh yang dah ditentukan untuk supaya shareholders tu dapat. So company perlu memastikan benda tu di-execute lah. Okay. So next is my part for the corporate governance report. So untuk corporate governance report ni mostly hanya teori saja because dia menekankan on for the definition, the corporate governance disclosures as an opportunity to demonstrate to stakeholders that they have holistic and effective corporate governance arrangement. Maksudnya kat sini, corporate governance report ni adalah disclosure yang kita buat dekat contoh macam financial statement atau financial performance tu, disclosure kat situ di mana dia akan tunjukkan ataupun tunjukkan bagaimana company tu punya corporate governance tu bertindak secara efektif atau tidak dalam company dorang. Also it will provide informative disclosure on their application of the MCCG practices. So untuk company yang corporate governance ni, dekat disclosure untuk corporate governance report juga akan provide informative disclosure lah, maksudnya info-info yang berkaitan dengan cara bagaimana company itu apply dalam cara company itu apply diorang punya MCCG practices. Also they can access to regular, reliable, comparable and integrated assess the stewardship of management, valuation of the company and the ownership structure. Maksudnya kat sini the stakeholders ke atau shareholders akan boleh access macam untuk tengok regular ataupun adakah company ni boleh dibandingkan, boleh bandingkan diorang punya performance tu by the information yang ada dekat dalam corporate governance report tu. Sebab dalam tu ada stewardship, ada chart of management, valuation of the company maksudnya penilaian company itu sendiri dan juga ownership structure. So untuk practices ada, sekejap. Okay. Untuk practices ada 4 poin utama di mana kat sini first kali ada explanation. Practices kat sini maksudnya apa yang perlu ada dalam corporate governance report tu lah. Untuk corporate governance report tu yang pertama kena ada explanation, provide an explanation for the departure. Departure tu maksudnya apa-apa yang berkaitan dengan info-info yang perlu ada dalam corporate governance. Then we have a disclosure where dalam tu kena ada information about the disclose the alternative practice it has adopted and how the alternative practice achieve the intended outcome. Kita akan tengok macam mana daripada disclosure tu, kita akan tengok macam mana apa yang diorang apply daripada MCCG tu kena tak dengan intended outcome yang MCCG dah tetapkan dalam MCCG tu lah. Kiranya macam kalau company tu dia follow according betul-betul MCCG tu, dia akan dapat intended outcome yang diperlukan lah. And then we have the actions which they have taken or intend to take and the time frame required. Maksud kat sini action ni perkara-perkara yang perlu diambil tindakan berdasarkan keputusan daripada the board tu sendiri, dan perlu ada time frame required untuk setiap tindakan yang perlu diambil based on the decision. Then for last but not least, a guidance where companies should carefully consider whether the disclosures would enable stakeholders to evaluate how the principles and practices of the MCCG have been applied. So saya kat sini setiap company tu perlulah secara berhati-hati untuk memastikan disclosure tu boleh buat stakeholders tu menilai sendiri macam mana prinsipal dan practices yang kita dah bagi dari awal-awal tadi diamalkan secara betul ataupun tidak berdasarkan disclosure. Disclosure tu kita boleh kata macam report akhir lah, macam prestasi, performance company itu sendiri. So I think that's all from us. Thank you. Q&A session.
Okay, thank you for this group. Saya ada share kan, ada 3 sampel corporate governance report. Okay, kita ambil contoh, kita ambil TNB. This one dia ada 83 pages corporate governance report dia. Okay, corporate governance report. Section A, section B. Yang kawan you cerita tadi tu dia ada intended outcomes dia. Section A, disclosure on Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance. Ada intended outcomes dia, and then dia ada dia punya kotak-kotak yang kawan you cerita tadi tu lah. Okay, dekat sini semua corporate governance punya issue, punya items, punya rules, regulation, requirements semua dimasuk dalam ni. Okay. Ada board punya composition, ada integrity, ada control system, ada succession planning, pengganti-pengganti yang akan datang, succession planning. Ada chairman's responsibility, board responsibility. Dekat sini juga, ini corporate governance lah. Lagi dekat sini ada role company secretary. Okay, dan lain-lain. Ini yang dia template dia sama. Dia just isi yang ni untuk Samdabi. Kalau dia apply, dia akan tulis apply. Dia punya action dia. Dia apply lah. Dalam ni sama je, ada strategic planning, ada challenge meeting, ada key, ada banyak, ada di apa ni CG punya isu lah, ada risk management punya matters, ada banyak. Dia ada yang ni macam Samdabi dia ada 65 pages dia punya ni. So kita tengok sama sama ada all this company dia follow tak Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance tu. Kalau ikut tengok pada sini semuanya apply saja. Tak ada yang tak apply lah. Ini appointment of company secretary. Saya rasa semua ni di ikut praktis 1.5 ni dalam ni benda yang sama je, lebih kurang company pun cuma dia olah-olah sahaja. Yang penting ni action taken dia tu, dia apply ke tak dengan MCCG 2021. Okay. Board charter, saya rasa di ikut praktis ni, praktis 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 ni. Ni MCCG 2021. Yang kawan you present ada 68 pages ni, MCCG 2021. Okay, principle A, principle B, principle C. And then dia ceritalah apa dalam tu, intended learning outcome, intended outcome dia, and then semua rules and requirement, semua yang kita kena follow, we care. Okay.